Hi, this is me, June. I'm back. Um, I found an interesting stat. I found a very interesting stat. Um, this statistic was about black men. I was doing some research on uh, black men, how many black men abandon their children. I'm going to do a video about talking about that. That's another video. And I found an interesting stat while I was doing that research. It said, did you know that 92% of biracial children are born out of wedlock? 92% of biracial children are born out of wedlock. That is a very high, staggering statistic. Um, it's interesting because I thought that was interesting because I kind of marinated on that because black men are always talking about how white women are so much better than us, how they're this and how they're that, and how they're better than us, and all this, and putting them on a pedestal and saying they're so much better than us and everything, us black women and all that. But it's interesting how uh, they do the same things to them that they're doing to us. They're having children with them and they're walking out on their kids. So my question is, if they're so good, if they're so much better than us, then why aren't black men sticking by these white women and helping to raise the kids? If they're supposed to be better women than us and make better wives and mothers and girlfriends or whatever, then why aren't they sticking around and helping to raise their biracial children? That is a staggering statistic. Now, out of that statistic, now, as I said in one of my other videos, sometimes you have to break statistics down. I don't know how many fathers in that statistic is actually still with the mother. They're basing that on the children that are born out of wedlock. It doesn't mean it's not telling you that if the man is still with the woman, or that's not what it's telling you. So I don't know how out of how many of those unwed births where the man is still with the woman. But the bottom line is they're out of wedlock, and the main thing is that they're out of wedlock. They're having them. They're not marrying the women. They're having the children with the women outside of marriage. So I just thought I seen that statistic and I was like, wow, that is an interesting stat. Because black men be hollering how black women and we're such horrible people. We're the most horrible people on the planet. We're bad women. We're bad mothers. We're this. We're ratchet. We're that. We're the most horrible people on the planet, according to a lot of black men. But then you have the statistic out there. So, and white women are so much better than us, and they put them on such a high pedestal and hold them in such high esteem. But if they're so much better than us, then why aren't they marrying them and having kids and sticking by them to help raise the children? Why is there a 92% out of wedlock rate with biracial children? That's the question that pops up into my head. Not bashing. I'm just stating the facts. You know, and I do see a lot of white women with biracial children, and they're raising those children by themselves. So, I mean, I have seen a lot of it. Me personally, I've seen a lot of it. So that's the question that pops up into my head. You guys say that they're better women, and then why aren't you sticking with them? Why aren't you staying with them to help you raise your kids? See, why you see it seems like that they're doing the same things to them that they're doing it to us. They're having children and they're abandoning their kids. Like I said, I don't know how much in that statistic uh, that they're still with the women, But the bottom line is that they're having the children out of wedlock. They're not marrying them. Why aren't they marrying the women and then having the children? That is a staggering 92%. That is a staggering statistic. It is a staggering statistic. 92% of biracial children are born out of wedlock. And that's so when I read that, those questions popped up into my mind. I was like, well, they always hollering that, they're so white women are so much better than us. That we're horrible, we're ratchet, whores, the B word, we're every name in the book but the child of God. We're horrible women, we're horrible mothers, we're ratchet, we're this, we're that, hair-headed hooligans, and like I said, calling us every name in the book but the child of God. We're such terrible people. And then they use that as a justification as to why we're raising children by ourselves without the father. A lot of the black men use that as a justification of why um, we're raising children by ourselves and they're not sticking by us. But then you have this stat out there of 92% of biracial children born out of wedlock. You have that stat. Now I don't know how much of that statistic is a white man having children with black women. Um, I think that I don't know. It just says biracial children. It just says biracial children. It doesn't say how many of that is black men. But I do see a lot of white women raising biracial children by themselves. So, like I said, that stat they don't when they put statistics out there, they don't break the stats down. But that is a staggering statistic. It is a staggering statistic, and so that's what I don't understand. Well, why is there a statistic at all? Even if you break that statistic down and it's not that high, but my question is, why is there a statistic at all? Why are there white women raising black children, biracial children alone by themselves at all? Why? If my question is, if white women are so much better than us, and there's black men claim that they're better women than we are, then why aren't they sticking by them to help raise their kids? There shouldn't be any. If that theory is correct, that they're better women than us and all this stuff and all the things that they say that they are, and we're the most horrible women on the planet, then there shouldn't be any white women raising biracial children by themselves. There shouldn't be any stats on there, or the statistics should be very, very low. They shouldn't be very high. The stats should be very low if, in fact, they are better women, the way black men claim that they are. You know, because you hear a lot of it on YouTube, how they're saying, oh, well, black women are this and black women are that, but white women yada yada yada. But if that's the case, why aren't they sticking with them and helping to raise their kids? You know, I mean, why is like I said, I don't know how much of that stat is that the fathers are still in the picture, but there shouldn't be a statistic at all, or the stat should be very low. Even if you was to cut that stat in half and say, okay, only 40% of black men walk out on their biracial kids, hypothetically speaking, why is that? Why is it 40%? Okay, the stat should be way low. It should be below 20%. If in fact they say that white women, based on the theory that white women are so much better than black women, they're better mothers, they make better wives and everything, then why aren't they marrying these women and helping to raise the children? Why are the children being born out of wedlock? Uh, the numbers should be very low. Those numbers shouldn't be that high. I mean, even if you cut that stat in half and break it down, it shouldn't even be. It should be below 20%. They should be marrying these women and having these kids if they're supposed to be so good. And that's when I see that stat. That's the question that pops up into my head. I'm like, okay, they say that they're better than us. They always saying that they're this, they're that. We're horrible, we're ratchet, we're the most terrible people on the planet. But then they're doing the same things to us, and they use that, like I said, they use that as a justification of why we're raising children by ourselves. You know, we get 100% of the blame for that. Well, you're a horrible woman. You're a black woman and you're a horrible woman and you ran him off or whatever. It's your fault. We get 100% of the blame. And they use that as a justification that of the reason why black women are raising children on their own. Okay. So, and then they say, well, white women are this and white women are so much better or whatever. But if that's the case, then why aren't they marrying these white women and raising their children? Like I said, I've seen a lot of white women raising biracial children alone. So I'm like, okay, well, if they're so much better than us, then why are they raising them alone? Why aren't these black men marrying them if they're supposed to be such better wives and all that? I don't know. It's just, I'm not bashing. I'm just stating the facts. Don't get mad. Don't get angry. I'm stating the facts. Those are the questions that come up into my mind when I read that stat. So let me know in the comments section what you guys think. But I just think that's a staggering statistic. This is Sweet June. Subscribe and like my videos.